and argued with this person. It got really ugly. Somebody got kicked off of the site and can't go back. That's how vindictive this person is. You turn the other cheek.
Well, yeah. Okay, so the one-star review said, you know, this book is a waste of time. It's 368 pages of padding, and it's inelegantly written. I mean, come on. Oh, just ripped my guts out. The other one said that it was a 3-star review. I only skimmed the book, but the author needs to do more research because the plane did not take off from McCarran Field in McCarran in Las Vegas. McCarran wasn't built yet. Well, yes, it was. The Army Airfield in Las Vegas was known as McCarran Field. And then Las Vegas started to grow. It was a dusty little 9,000 person town in 1942, but it started to grow. And so they built McCarran Airport, what became International Airport, farther to the south. The name moved over, and McCarran Field became Nellis Air Force Base. So it's like, well, what do you do? You know, when anonymous people get on, and what it does is it affects people at the point of purchase. Amazon. No offense, Jeff. This is the real point of purchase. We know that.
Everyone needs to post a review so that you have, you know, 50 great ones and 2 bad ones. Just make those people look bad.
Thank you, and that's what I was getting at, is that anybody, if you do happen to like the book, if you don't like the book, if you please could keep it to yourself. But if you do like it, yes.
Frame it. Put it above your desk. Seriously.
Well, see, Will Rothar is here, ladies and gentlemen, who played Lee Harvey Oswald in Killing Kennedy here a couple months ago, and was fantastic.
Ah.
But yeah, really, when I get them, there was one, Goodreads.com, this woman savaged the book when it was still in galleys. I mean, she savaged it. She said, so part of this book is that he climbed the mountain like I care. You know, that was that kind of a review, that it's just people needing to do these things. But in general, people have been very kind about the book, and people are getting the book, and that, because it's a book that's meant to touch you, and it's meant to be personal, and most people, well, yeah, most people are getting that. So, does anybody have any questions? I'd love to talk more about this. If anybody has anything to ask. Rude.
Again, I've gotten farther into the book, and there was a lot of information about them getting that plane ready for its final flight, and it struck me how heavy it must have been. Is that part of the reason, perhaps, why it might have been? I mean, it says there's no definitive answer as to why it crashed. Is it because the plane was demolished that they have no way to figure it out? But it just seems to me like there's some clear things that could have led to the crash.
Wait till you get to chapter 45. Weight was an issue. Huh? What?
I'm on 39.
Oh, 39? Well, you're getting there. Weight was an issue because the plane was maxed out on passengers. It was an airmail plane, so at every point it was taking on airmail, it was dropping off some airmail, but mostly it was taking airmail on. It had, the 15 Army flyers that were on board had gear, every one, and there's a list in the TWA papers that was all of the equipment they had. They had flight kits, they had tools, they had parachutes. That was heavy, and Carole Lombard did not travel light. When she was making several appearances, she had trunks, Petey had trunks, they both had furs, you know, there was the jewelry, there was a lot on that plane, and it did affect the rate of climb. And that rate of climb was key, because they were within 150 yards vertically of clearing the mountain. It was a cold night. They were powering up with this heavy plane and a full load of passengers to get up, 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 high enough at a cruising altitude that was, the course was the wrong course. But still, if the plane hadn't been so heavy, they would have had a shot to clear the mountain. It was an indictment of the 2 men, the one in Albuquerque and then the one in Las Vegas, who both cleared that plane to take off, knowing that it was too heavy for Rex. Jeff.
You said you weren't going to talk about the a lot of the other folks in here and keep it on Carole, but I really found a couple of the stories you told the other night about some of the other passages, in particular your first-hand account of someone that could tell you because they were there, and I thought maybe you could enlighten everybody about it.
Yeah, my own Rose Dawson. I found Rose Dawson, you know, the 100-year-old lady from Titanic. There was a Flight 3 survivor who, no, she didn't go into the mountain at 180 miles an hour and walk away, no. She was bumped in Albuquerque so one of the flyers, another one of these Army flyers, could get on board and take her seat. And she's now 94 years old and living in Louisiana. And she was what I call the girl who lived. You know, it's sort of a nod to Harry Potter. That there was this, she was it's another one of these crazy things. She was an aeronautics researcher working at Moffett Field, California for NACA, which was the precursor to NASA. And she was involved in wind tunnel tests. And I used to work for NASA. And we worked at the same wind tunnel at Moffett Field. That's how small a world it is. And so she was on government travel for 3 months of training to become the NACA librarian at Moffett Field. She had finished that, and she was on her way back on Flight 3 back to California and her home. And she was bumped in Albuquerque, all the way across the United States. She knows who Carole Lombard is. Carole got on in Indianapolis, and she knew that when Carole got off the plane in Burbank, she was going to get to see Clark Gable. And then all the way across the country, Mary Johnson and her seatmate, Genevieve Brandner, were just, you know, conspiring about how they were going to see Clark Gable. Then they were both bumped in Albuquerque, and it was the worst moment of their lives. Until the next day, and Mary said to me, you know, the next day, Clark Gable didn't seem so important. Because she found out after she arrived in Hollywood, she came here to Hollywood and was put up in style because she had been bumped. TWA put her up in style. She learned that Flight 3 had crashed. She went on to live a great life, and as she told me, you know, she stood at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, she rode a camel to the pyramids, and she walked the Great Wall of China. And those are all the things she got to do because she was bumped from Flight 3. And that's the kind of thing that 22 souls didn't get to do. Something I said on Thursday night, these were young people. Only 2 people on Flight 3 were 40 years old. Everyone else was younger, and the youngest was 19. And they were about to shoot up through the ranks because they were senior people already in the Army when all these volunteers were coming in, when all of these people were being conscripted. So that's what we lost when Flight 3 crashed.